Welcome everyone back to our podcast, Sisterhood Across the Seas. Today we will talk about education again, but with a little twist because today we will focus much more on a specific aspect, which is mental health and our relationship with the teachers and overall feelings related to education system in both Poland and the US. So let's start with overall feelings about the state of our mental health in all of our educational systems. So, Maria, maybe you could start. What is your approach? What do you think is the state of American students in high school?
I think honestly, generally, I think pretty bad, just like with the stress and everything, especially in like schools, like competitive schools, like my school. Like a lot of people want to get good grades, want to get into good colleges. So there's like a sense of the competition between students. But I think our school has done like a few things to sort of help with that. The first thing I think pretty major is that we don't have A minuses or A pluses. So like standard American grading systems, you have like A, B, C, D, F, but you also have A, B. So we have like B minus and B plus, but we don't have A minus or A plus. So like if you get a 91, you get an A, and if you get a 99, you get an A. And I think that helps because it's like less stress. You don't have to get like 95 and above, you can get like 92 and it'll be fine. We also offer the school offers like counseling services. So you have like a counselor assigned to like a certain group of students and you could talk to them about things like college, like emotional stuff, family stuff. And yeah, they're pretty accessible. And yeah, the district also has like mental health services as well. And I think generally it's pretty supportive. I mean, I think our district is definitely better than most districts in the US in terms of like mental health. And yeah, I think maybe doing more like mental health education, just like informing students about like how to maintain your mental health and not, know how like know the signs and know how to deal with problems mentally and stuff. And then obviously I think the root cause, as I mentioned, is like the pressure to succeed. So I think maybe like using alternative grading systems like what our school did with like the A's, and then putting less emphasis on like standardized testing would help students feel less pressure.
Yeah, I think I have to agree is that overall in Poland the mental health situations among students it's pretty bad. Like I think there are not many things that have been made for last years to help students, and I would say the situation is actually critical. So like among my friends, so in my like surrounding, there are pretty many people who suffer like illnesses like depression or so on, and like they have this lack to have parents that are supporting and to having them they go to psychologist, but actually it's everything you have to do by yourself. So going to psychology is expensive. Like I think it's not really a thing you everyone will be able to afford. And for the like last years, the thing that the government done to this mental health situation is actually making it even worse than it was. Like how sad it is. It's true. Like right now, when the Ministry of Education changed, like I think everyone keeping fingers crossed for her to make the situation better. But I think in Poland there's the highest rate of children that wanted to commit suicide in Europe at least, and that's a big thing. And I think that in Polish schools there are not education about it. There are many non-profit organizations that are just doing it by themselves without any government help. So there's these hotlines where you can call, but everything is actually doing but by those organizations. There is nothing, I think, done by the government.
Yeah, and coming back to suicide attempts that you said before, I actually found data from 2022 that says that police data show over 1,500 suicide attempts by the end of the September of 2022. So it actually was the a record number of suicide attempts by children that have been noted in Poland that year. And it just shows how much a school can influence our mental health.
Yes, like I think that there have to be done lots of things to help it, and it also should be done as a cooperation between like schools, government, and parents, because it's a big problem and it has many sides, many perspectives. But I think that maybe in a close future we will start the conversation, and that's too late. It's definitely too late, and we can only hope that it will become better, not worse. And also, the pressure to be success is huge in schools. So there is a huge like problem about teachers who are focusing only on those rankings. There are something called perspective, that's a ranking among all schools in Poland. And I can believe that many schools does like bad things only to have like high score there. And they were published like 2 weeks ago, and I think everyone was talking about it. And it's also putting some huge pressure on students to like do everything to have a best score during like a last exam, the most important one, to have like to make the school to give a school the highest score there.
So we can actually connect it with the topic of the relationship between the student and the teacher and how it looks like in Poland, for example. So coming from like my perspective, I would say in my school, I don't think it's related to IB. I think it's actually related to the philosophy of my school that slightly differs from the standard ones in Poland. And my school focuses on strong bond between a student and a teacher. It has to be an individual relationship. We have to like have a really strong relationship with the teacher so we can have a normal conversation with them. So the teacher knows what we as students need from them to teach us. And I think it allows for more peaceful environment in the classroom. I don't think I had an experience of like abusive relationship with a teacher. So it then transfers into our academic performance. If I have more or less worse, I would say, relationship with a teacher, I don't want to, for example, go to their classes, or I just don't really listen during their classes. And it translates into my worst academic performance. So, for example, if I have a great relationship with a teacher, obviously I'm going to listen during their classes, pay more attention then, and I see that it also translates into better academic performance.
Yeah, like I think, for example, from my experience, those relations are just pretty different, because there are many teachers that I just don't have relation with. We are just in the same class, they are talking about something, and I'm sitting there listening them or not. And we are just completely random people to ourselves. We just don't really have anything in common. We have never talked to each other about anything other than the subject, or even we haven't talked about it. But there are plenty of like teachers that I can say I have like a pretty great relation with. So in my school, there's something that I think is pretty great. It's called like tutoring. So at the beginning of the school year, you can choose one teacher or the teacher can choose you for like individual program. So for the next half a year, so for the next term, you will have like individual meeting with those teachers, and during them you can talk with them about anything. So it can be related to school or no, it can be related to passion. I know that there are some students that, for example, learning how to play the guitar with our English teacher, which is actually amazing. And it's amazing relationship between like student and a teacher when you play the guitar together in the school. And for example, I also took part in this program, so I had like those meetings with my English teacher where we were like meeting to talk about like talking in public, and she was like learning me how to do it properly, and also we did it all in English. So that was just a great to me. And after that, I feel so much more comfortable during her lessons, and I just feel like more like appreciated the because of this, I would say, individual relationship. So that's great, and I think that's a program that should be in every school because actually a thing that really can help a student because you have a those teacher that you can write in any time where you need help or whatever, and even when you finish the program, there's always opportunity to talk to this teacher because you just know each other, so it's easier. And it's also helpful, for example, when you have some problems in like your life or in school, um, you always have this like a adult who you can talk up to or about your mental issues or so on. So there's someone who's supporting you. And like I know my friends that, for example, are finishing the schools right now and have those program during like first year in school, and they still have such a close relations with those teachers. So that's great.
Yeah, I think it depends on the size of the school. It's more difficult when you have like a larger school. Because I know I used to go to a smaller school. There's like 600 students for like 6th through 12th grade. And now I go to a school that has like 2,000 students and only 9th through 12th grade. And it was definitely easier to sort of make like closer relationships with teachers when it was like a smaller school because they just have uh, less students. And yeah, I think that that program sounds really cool. And here, like teachers often like you need a teacher to like supervise. If you want to start a club, you need a teacher to supervise. So I know a lot of people like if they start a club or they're a part of a club, they develop sort of a close relationship with that teacher. Also here, if you want to apply to like more prestigious colleges, you need a letter of recommendation. So you kind of have to, talk with your teacher and like have like a close relationship so they can write you a decent letter of recommendation. Like I know I asked two teachers for letters of recommendation, and I had volunteered for like both of them in their class and like different events. And yeah, honestly, I think having like a good or bad teacher really makes or breaks the class and also teaches you to like either love or hate the subject. Like I had a really good Spanish teacher, so I still continue learning Spanish. But my physics teacher is kind of not so good, so I kind of don't like physics that much.
Yeah, like I think that's a big thing. Like there's so huge I mean there's many things that are just the teacher impact on, like they can make your favorite subject into the worst one immediately just because there's behavior, there's like relation to you. So that's why actually that's pretty important when you are a teacher, I think, to do everything to have a good relation with students. And I know that there are many situations that students that don't want to have those relations because yeah, there are many reasons. But in every class there are at least some of them who really care, and for those I think the teacher should like try to do everything to build this relationship.
So, obviously, the issue of mental health and education is really broad and complicated, although there are many projects that at least try to fight this problem. And from my perspective, I guess I can talk about project that I've done during the uh, Polish national competition. And I focused on the problem of student burnout. And I don't know, have you heard anything about this term, student burnout? Because when I started this project, I haven't heard anything about it. So I'm curious.
Honestly, I think I just heard the name and anything more. So when you talk to me about this project, that was the time when I started looking for some information. But before that, not really.
Student burnout, I mean, I think it's just an issue where people like students they keep going and going and working as hard as they can for like an extended period of time, and eventually like you just don't have enough like um fuel in your tank to keep going and you just stop.
But I think overall the knowledge about it, it's not a big.
Yeah, when I did the research with my friends for the project, we haven't heard about it. We found one book about the issue, and that was it. So we decided, yeah, let's do project about it, and we created. I would say it was a really good project. We created a social campaign about the issue, and we did also school meetings with students and also the teachers to talk about the issue, how to like what are the causes of the issue, how to fight it. So obviously there are, I would say it was more of a local initiative, but at least there are some initiatives, no matter whether they are local or global, that try to help the issue with bad mental state of students in Poland.
Yes, like there's this hotline where you can always call when you feel like depressed, sad, or whatever, just to talk. And like I think it's one of the most important like initiatives that were done in Poland for this issue. There are some like controversies with it, so with money, and there's like a lack of support from the government to do this project. But from what I know, it's changed, and right now they are working, and also there's like phone number. I think it's in every school. Like when you need this help, you actually really know what to do. Like you know this number, you know where you're calling, and that's I think what they did pretty well.
Yeah, like on our, I can actually show you. Okay, I can't show you, this is a podcast. Never mind. This we have like a student ID, right? And on the back you have like a bunch of phone numbers, like mental health, like crisis line, like if you're like I don't know, like emergency safety tip, child protective services, national runaway hotline, safe place, crisis lines.
I don't think we have like such hotlines in Poland. I mean, obviously you have like a hotline for children, but I don't think there are so many like for specific reasons.
I don't think so. Also, like I think you can always call to like just a normal emergency line, but like I'm not sure how they were treated. So we hope you really enjoyed the podcast, this episode, and let us know what do you think about mental health problems in your country, because we think it's pretty universal around the world. We hope you are well, and just remember, whenever you feel you are in a bad situation, there's always someone you can call to, and probably when we do some sum ups of our podcast, we also mention those places. So just remember you are not alone, and there's always someone to talk to. So we are seeing each other, or like hearing each other, in the next episodes in a few minutes, I think. So see you soon.